Good evening, everyone, and happy Lunar New Year. I'm Thomas Yu with Jennifer Sun.
As co-executive directors of Asian Americans for Equality, we are pleased to welcome you to AAFE's first ever virtual gala. While our board of directors and staff would love nothing more than to be greeting you in person at our 47th annual Lunar New Year Gala, we are grateful for this opportunity to gather online with our friends, supporters, staff, and community partners.
Tonight, we'll look back on an unbelievably trying year for our community and the world, look ahead to new challenges that await in 2021, and celebrate our grassroots community responders. As you watch this evening, we invite you to visit our website, AAFE.org, to learn more about our honorees, our community development work, and support our mission. We begin with a look back at 2020.
It was March 13th, almost exactly a year ago, that we canceled our annual Lunar New Year Gala, a cherished event AAFE has hosted in Chinatown for decades. Just days later, New York's pause order went into effect. Like so many other organizations across the city, we closed our offices, shifting to remote work and reinventing our community service model during a once-in-a-century public health crisis.
It hasn't been easy for anyone, but especially not for the immigrant and low-income communities that AAFE serves across New York City. Our dedicated first responders and essential workers were disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. AAFE has responded in many ways to ensure their safety, helping to prevent evictions, rushing emergency cash assistance to families in distress, bolstering imperiled small businesses, and organizing food and clothing drives in Manhattan and Queens.
One of our very first steps after the pandemic arrived in New York was to protect the health and well-being of the more than 2,000 residents of AAFE managed buildings in Chinatown, the Lower East Side, and Flushing. Our dedicated building management and maintenance staff remained on duty, deep cleaning each property, implementing health and safety protocols, and making sure that tenants had food and access to medical care. Then, with our Community Services Department, they began a joint resident services check-in program, linking tenants with social services, financial assistance, unemployment benefits, and healthcare.
Throughout this health and economic crisis, Asian Americans have also been targeted in racist and xenophobic attacks. It began long before the first COVID cases surfaced in the US, emptied out Manhattan's Chinatown and other Asian enclaves, and devastated so many small businesses. In response, AAFE and our affiliate, Renaissance Economic Development Corporation, created an emergency small business relief loan fund. We were able to create it in part thanks to you by devoting all proceeds from AAFE's canceled 2020 Lunar New Year banquet to the fund. Thanks largely to the generous support of many private sector funders, we raised $3 million and closed loans for 154 small businesses in desperate need of capital to remain open. We also facilitated another $1.5 million in loans through the Federal Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, and are continuing to close new low-interest loans every day.
One of our small business loans went to 46 Mott Bakery, and a few months later, AAFE and Renaissance were delighted to support Light Up Chinatown, a grassroots project from bakery manager Patrick Mock to adorn the main commercial corridor in Chinatown with beautiful lanterns. Will Smith, yes, that Will Smith, the Fresh Prince, surprised Patrick with the news on his Snapchat show, Will From Home.
Patrick Mock is Chinatown. When coronavirus hit New York, Chinatown was hit the hardest. But Patrick refused to sit back and watch Chinatown die. He kept his bakery, 46 Mott, open, and he started delivering hundreds of free meals a day to the homeless. Patrick, are you there?
I'm here.
So I know you've told me about your Light Up Chinatown initiative. Asian Americans for Equality is giving you $10,000 to use toward your Light Up Chinatown initiative. They've saved up 151 businesses this year.
This means a lot to me, actually.
was a great campaign to bring a lot of attention to small businesses at a time of great need.
And we also are so happy to support any ideas coming from our own community.
In collaboration with the Mayor's Fund, Robin Hood, and FPWA, AAFE was able to disperse $400,000 in emergency cash assistance to almost 200 families who had no other place to turn for support. And working with some amazing grassroots responders, we organized free community markets in our offices in Chinatown, Flushing, and Jackson Heights to make sure families had enough warm clothing to survive the winter and access to fresh food. More than 600 people lined up for our recent Good Deeds giveaway at One Flushing. We also launched virtual Know Your Rights workshops, ensuring that more than 450 low-income tenants understood their rights to stay in their homes, even if they had lost jobs and wages. And through AAFE's college access and youth leadership programs, we supported our high school students in Flushing to stay connected and motivate each other as they navigated the challenges of remote learning. During the height of the pandemic, we found new ways to communicate with our community, stepped up our use of Chinese radio, multilingual social media, and Chinese language newspapers, and activated our community for a complete count in the 2020 US Census.
AAFE was able to quickly adapt to meet local needs because a strong community development foundation was already in place. In December, the Urban Land Institute, New York acknowledged this long-standing commitment to our immigrant neighborhoods, honoring AAFE and our partners Hannock and Monadnock with the Excellence in Affordable Housing Development Award. Our building, One Flushing, opened a year before COVID and has served as a safe and secure bastion of 100% affordable housing throughout the pandemic.
Located on a former municipal parking lot in downtown Flushing, Queens, One Flushing is New York's first fully integrated intergenerational residential project with seniors and families living side by side in a first-class development.
Meanwhile, AAFE was able to safely continue construction of our latest 100% affordable housing project, East Village Homes in Lower Manhattan. We're looking forward to opening the lottery for 45 new apartments in a beautiful 14-story tower on East 2nd Street in just a few months in the Lower East Side.
We have been through a lot together in the past year. It's important to recognize that while also acknowledging and preparing for the difficult road ahead. Our communities are resilient and will overcome COVID, but it won't happen overnight and without a lot of dedication and resourcefulness from us all. At AAFE, we have been preparing for the post-pandemic for many months. We're planning new affordable housing, including projects for homeless New Yorkers, to meet a housing crisis that is growing worse by the day. We are launching a comprehensive resident services program to meet the health, financial, educational, and emotional needs of our residents. We're scaling up our mutual aid capacity to address food insecurity and a dire need for enhanced social services. And we're expanding the reach of our business loan programs to assist immigrant entrepreneurs so essential to our communities.
None of AAFE's work in the past year to protect our most vulnerable community members would have been possible without you. On behalf of our board of directors and staff, Jennifer and I wanted to let you know we are truly grateful for your steadfast commitment to our communities, your friendship, and most of all, our shared goal of achieving equality for all. When we became co-executive directors 3 years ago, a big priority for both of us was strengthening AAFE's community partnerships, finding new ways to collaborate, joining together with new and old friends to fight for social justice.
Speaking of new friends, we've made a lot of them this year. So many New Yorkers have stepped up to help their neighbors. They have opened their hearts, donated their time, organized relief aid, spoken up for equitable aid. It has been inspiring to see. So when we were picking a theme for this year's AAFE Gala, it seemed obvious. We wanted to recognize the indispensable grassroots responders who have done so much for communities across the city. Join us tonight as we honor Chinatown Block Watch, House of Good Deeds, COVID Care Neighbor Network, and Think Chinatown.
We are grateful to all our supporters who have stepped forward to help our community in the past year. Tonight, we want to take a moment to thank everyone who made generous contributions leading up to AAFE's virtual gala. First off, a special thank you to NeighborWorks America for their unwavering support all year long. NeighborWorks not only provides crucial funding for our community development programs, but also invaluable training programs for AAFE's board and staff, as well as access to an array of resources.
We also wanted to acknowledge our presenting sponsor, the New York Community Bank, as well as benefactors, AAD Construction Corporation and Con Edison. Our champion sponsors, BNY Mellon, Marks Paneth LLP, Morgan Stanley, TD Bank, and Valley National Bank.
And our patron level sponsors, Benchmark Title Agency, Cathay Bank, Edison Properties, Goldstein Hall PLLC, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, Lemley and Wolf Companies, Mount Sinai Health System, and M&T Bank. And to our supporters, Curly Hurchin and Johns Root LLP, Enterprise Community Partners, Low Income Investment Fund, LISC and LISC Affiliate National Equity Fund, the Law Office of Stephen G., and PNC Bank.
And our friends, Apple Bank, Asian American Federation, Contango IT, and Urban Architectural Initiatives. You can see a full list of everyone who has made contributions towards our gala at AAFE.org. You can also make a donation through our website or text to donate by texting AAFE 2021 to 44321. Once again, that's AAFE 2021 to 44321.
Every year at AAFE's Gala, we're honored to host our elected officials who help welcome all of our guests and wish the community a happy Lunar New Year. This year, these greetings look a little different since we can't all be in the same room together. Throughout the evening, we'll hear virtual messages from a dozen of our government representatives. Let's begin with U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer.
Hi, everyone. This is Senator Chuck Schumer. To everyone tuning in, I wish you a happy and a prosperous new year. And in this year especially, Sun Te Ging Hong. May the year of the ox bring us healing and the prosperity that goes especially for the organizations that we honor today. The Chinatown Block Watch, the House of Good Deeds, the Jackson Heights COVID Care Center, and Think Chinatown. Thank you all so much for serving our community during this pandemic. And as we all struggle to call out and confront the appalling rise in hate crimes against our Asian American sisters and brothers, because intolerant words have no place in America, I want to thank each organization here for standing tall for Asian American equality. I promise you, as the new Senate Majority Leader, you will always, always come first in everything I do. I love your community. You represent the best of New York and America. So thank you. Gong hei fa choi. Stay healthy, stay safe.
Hi, New York State Senator John Liu here. It's that time of the year again, AAFE's annual Lunar New Year's banquet. Now, it's been a really tough year, but despite that, AAFE has not missed a beat in serving our community, and this 47th banquet is somewhat different, but I look forward to the 48th banquet next year when we will all get together once again and eat ridiculous amounts of food. Happy Year of the Ox.
Hi everyone, I am Assemblywoman Catalina Cruz and I represent Jackson Heights, Corona, and Elmhurst, and I want to congratulate AAFE on your 47th annual Lunar Year Gala. Congratulations to all of the honorees, especially Jackson Heights' own COVID Care Network. The amount of work that you have done this year to help support our community does not go unnoticed, and we thank you for it. The same thing can be said for AAFE. When our community has needed you the most, be it around immigration, around housing, around simply showing up to help our community, you have been there. We really appreciate you. I am proud of the work that you have done and to have been able to partner with you many times. And I looked forward to many years to come where we can work together for our community.
Hello everyone, it's Assemblyman Ron Kim. Congratulations Asian Americans for Equality for another successful year despite the tough times that we're all dealing with. I want to wish everyone, the board members, the hardworking staff, a happy Lunar New Year. We also are dealing with some tremendous challenges around the recent spike against Asian Americans, particularly toward Asian American older adults. As the new chair of the Committee on Aging in the State Assembly, I plan on continuing to work on not just anti-Asian sentiments, but also ageist sentiments that have risen over the years. I look forward to your partnership. I look forward to your collaboration. But for today, I wish you all a happy Lunar New Year. I look forward to seeing everyone very soon.
In the past few months, we have been expanding AAFE's capacity for providing mutual aid, organizing free community markets in Manhattan and Queens. Let's have a look at a recent market AAFE and our community partners hosted in Flushing.
Today because I think it's a really great thing that AAFE is kind of moving towards a lot more mutual aid events, and so I wanted to kind of not just participate the day of, but kind of get a behind the scenes look at how everything's done. And all the volunteers have been working really hard to get things ready, and there's just so much cool stuff that we get to like give to everyone in the community.
Because I love helping the community. This is a passion with me. I always love helping people who's in need, because I was in need before, needed help, and these same people came out and helped me, so I'm giving back to those who are in need.
This is Asian Americans for Equality's second free community market. We're at 1 Flushing, so we're filling in all the gaps for that people may need for their homes, or as kids grow out of their clothing and need different sizes. We also have some coats, hats, scarves.
So I like to work with the community because it's so many people that they really need stuff and appreciate all the organization. They have food, clothes, anything they have, the family will happy, so excited to receive it.
It is my pleasure to welcome our new Managing Director of Community Services, Emily Rios, who joins us now. Emily has been with AAFE for 6 months and brings a deep well of experience in building grassroots partnerships, recruiting volunteers, and providing multilingual services to immigrant New Yorkers. This experience has enabled AAFE to serve communities in new ways.
Emily, those community markets have been a real priority for you in the first few months at AAFE.
That's right, Tom and Jen. And tonight, we want to recognize grassroots community groups who partner with us to make these mutual aid events successful. Let's start with the House of Good Deeds. I'm joined by Leon Feingold, who founded House of Good Deeds 4 years ago. Leon, AAFE is pleased to honor House of Good Deeds with our Grassroots Responder Award for your work to aid communities across New York during the pandemic.
Thank you, Emily. It's an honor and a pleasure to be involved with such a great organization as AAFE. Thank you.
Leon, tell us how your organization was founded.
The short-ish version, 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago, I was engaged to my girlfriend. The day after my engagement, she wasn't feeling well. We took her to the hospital. And she was in the hospital for 10 days while they ran tests, and it turns out she had terminal metastatic cancer, and we had no idea. Over the weeks that followed, help and assistance of all sorts came in from all over the world. People we knew, people we didn't know, just in this amazing outpouring of altruism to make her last few months good ones. And we vowed at our wedding, when we exchanged vows to each other, we vowed to our guests and the hundreds more watching from home that was being streamed, that we would find a way to pay forward the altruism that we experienced to help others and also to teach the power that every individual has to make a difference in the world. So we co-founded the House of Good Deeds in January of 2017. And our first official event was giving away all of my wife's clothing after she passed away to needy people within the community. Every month since then, the House of Good Deeds has done at least one, usually multiple, public-facing events, both to enable and to encourage the practice of altruism, the idea that doing the best thing that we can do for improving the world is to help others without directly benefiting ourselves.
You celebrated your 4th anniversary. How has House of Good Deeds evolved, and what are your main activities?
Every month, with AAFE's support, we have been expanding our quarterly into monthly Good Deeds giveaways, where we collect clothing, shoes, housewares, food, and other necessities that are surplus or not needed from generous donors in New York City. And we give them for free to anyone and everyone who can use them. Sustainability is a very big part of what we do. We also do neighborhood cleanups. We collect and give away whatever might be needed or offered to us. We've done a lot of food rescue, especially with so many restaurants going out of business during the pandemic. We do community education classes, and it could be just as simple as giving people a Good Deeds Day to encourage them to do anything and everything they can. As big as trying to save the world, and as small as picking up a piece of rubbish and putting it in a trash bin. Everything counts.
AAFE and House of Good Deeds have been working together on a series of free community markets. From your perspective, why partner with other organizations?
I think the idea that every organization has to reinvent the wheel in order to go anywhere is counterproductive, and it's inefficient. I think while any one person, as I've described, has the power to make a real difference, people and through extension, organizations have an amazing ability to make real change when they work together. In our example, the House of Good Deeds gets a ridiculous amount of donations, both from businesses and individuals. But AAFE has locations and people in place which we can work together really well to make sure that all of the things that we get find a way to find new homes. So we provide resources that AAFE does not, and AAFE has provided amazing resources that the House of Good Deeds has not. So far, it's been an amazing, compatible relationship.
What's your vision for the future of House of Good Deeds?
We intend on being a global organization. We plan on chartering House of Good Deeds chapters elsewhere around the United States and around the world. We have several people that are interested. But first things first, our goal is to make New York City the world headquarters of altruism.
On behalf of all of us at AAFE, we would like to present this certificate to the House of Good Deeds for all of your good works during COVID. Congratulations, Leon.
Thank you, Emily, and thank you so much for AAFE. We could not and would not be where we are without your support and the support of the amazing people who run your organization. Similarly, we wouldn't be wherever we are without all the amazing people that work with and help organize the House of Good Deeds. We are primarily a volunteer-run, volunteer-staffed, volunteer-planned organization, and that is the way we like it. We're all here because we understand the value and the responsibility we each have to improve the world, and we look forward to working with AAFE and others to make sure this continues in the future. Thank you.
It all started with a simple Post-it note left under the doors of neighbors in Jackson Heights, an offer to help with anything that might be needed during the early days of the pandemic. Before long, entry out of one of their garages, delivering meals, organizing check-in calls by bilingual social workers to more than 1,000 families, helping people connect with social services and rental assistance, and much more. We met these amazing grassroots community organizers when AAFE was launching mutual aid events from our own Jackson Heights office. They've been incredibly generous, donating their time and helping to spread the word about our coat drives through their impressive local network. And now we'd like you to meet them too. Welcome Nula O'Doherty Naranjo, Don Falcone, and Maria Bergeron. Nula, tell us about these Post-it notes and how the COVID Care Neighborhood Network got started.
Back in April of last year, these were really dark days. There was a lot of confusion. People were scared. They didn't know what to do. And they were all told to lock ourselves inside. And I realized that I didn't know how to contact my own neighbors. So it started with a simple Post-it note. We wrote on it and just said, hey, if you need our help, we're here to help. Here's my phone number. And that Post-it note grew into COVID Care Neighbor Network with hundreds of volunteers helping thousands of our neighbors.
Your group does so many different things and really responds in the moment to the needs you're seeing on the ground. Don, talk about the impact COVID Care Neighbor Network has been able to have. What are some of your proudest accomplishments?
So, we started initially just running errands for our neighbors. And you have to remember, this was at the height of the pandemic when people were very afraid to go out. And yet we still had people in the community that were willing to put masks and gloves on, go to grocery stores, go and pick up prescriptions. We then became a full-blown food pantry out of Nula's garage, which initially was all done by just donations. We asked people to donate food and they did. So we keep growing as the community's needs grow. We've done everything from help plan funerals in the darkest times to rent relief, which is a big initiative that Nula and Maria are working on. We know we're going to have to step up and help people once eviction notices come. We've been helping people register for vaccines and getting them to their appointments. I think the biggest accomplishment that I'm most proud of, and I'm just speaking for myself, but I think Nula and Maria feel the same way, is that we are a true neighbors helping neighbors program. COVID Care Neighbor Network would not exist without the help of the people in our community who to this day are still meeting the needs of their neighbors who they've never met, who they don't even know. And here they are helping to feed them, helping to give them a fabulous Christmas. We put a call out for diapers last week and 50 people within one day shipped diapers to Nula's house. So I think I'm so proud of the way that our community has stepped up to help each other during COVID care when we only had each other. Our government was not here for us, but our neighbors were.
Maria, those check-in calls to neighbors, you were making those calls, talking with so many people in distress. What did you learn? And what do you think we all need to understand about what your community was going through?
More than learning, I think it was confirmed for me how resilient, how dedicated, and how community-oriented our neighborhood is. Our neighbors, it's very dedicated to helping the community. So I think more than learning it, it was confirmed for me. And as to what it is that we all need to understand of what our community was going through, I think we were all going through it. It wasn't just Jackson Heights. I mean, it was the fear, the uncertainty. It was the beginning. Then the summer came along and we really didn't know. All we kept knowing at first, it was like, no, we shouldn't be wearing masks. Then yes, we need to be wearing masks. So just again, the dedication, very dedicated people in the community, but not only those that we helped have also helped. So it's a true sense of the word of network. We all help each other. Nula teases me because there are a couple of people that are my favorites. Well, they're not really my favorites, but they are so resourceful. And sometimes when I'm stuck with, I don't know how to help someone, I will call them and I will say, how did you get out of this situation? What resources did you have? And they give me information. So it is a true, like Dawn was saying, neighbors helping neighbors, and a network of neighbors.
What does the future hold for your group and when the pandemic is finally over?
Thank you, Emily. Here in our neighborhood that was hit so hard, this is going to be a long recovery. Unfortunately, the city and state and federal government hasn't taken care of our immigrant neighbors the way they should have, and it's going to take a long time for these families to recover. They've been resilient and have made it through this far, but they face a looming eviction problems with lots of debts to their landlords. They face continued unemployment, and they really face this idea of losing faith in their neighbors. And that's why COVID Care Neighbor Network has been so important, because the help came from their neighbors. It didn't come from the government. It came from their neighbors helping them. And COVID Care Neighbor Network has been so fortunate to work with groups like AAFE and building resources so that these neighbors can now feel like they're part of something bigger and that they can work together to get over this really shocking lack of help from our government.
On behalf of AAFE, I'm thrilled to present the COVID Care Neighbor Network with our Grassroots Award for being heroic grassroots responders during the coronavirus crisis.
I am personally thankful for House of Good Deeds for the opportunity to share my work with my mother and to help her understand a little bit more of what I do. And I was really touched, I think, by the spirit of really believing in each person's potential to be a power for change. Thanks, Emily. We now turn to more greetings from our elected officials who may not be with us in person tonight, but are with us in spirit.
Hi, everyone. I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng from Queens, New York. Happy Lunar New Year. A huge thank you to AAFE for hosting tonight's celebration, and congratulations to tonight's honorees. I wish you all a happy and healthy Year of the Ox.
Good evening, everyone. I first want to thank Thomas Yu and Jennifer Sun for their leadership and commitment in helping this great organization thrive. And I want to congratulate tonight's honorees. This is a special year because we celebrate the Year of the Ox. And the ox signifies strength, persistence, and resilience. After such a challenging 2020, it feels fitting and hopeful to welcome the ox and all it represents. For the past 47 years and counting, AAFE has been at the forefront of Asian American advocacy here in New York. Through activities ranging from tenant organizing and civic engagement to providing financial assistance and training to local residents and small businesses, AAFE is a staunch champion for our communities and fights to ensure that Asian Americans have the resources to thrive. I know that the past year has been difficult due to the pandemic, and we unfortunately have seen a despicable rise in hate crimes and harassment against the Asian community. And that's why we've launched our hate crimes hotline in the wake of these incidents, and we continue to urge everyone to be vigilant and to report any discriminatory action to my office, and not to be a bystander. My office is here to serve all New Yorkers, and we are all in this together. I want to again wish everyone celebrating a Happy New Year. Please be safe, and may this be a year of harmony and joy for you and your family. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Ni hao ma, gong hei fat choi. Happy Lunar New Year to the Asian community and all New Yorkers for whom this is a special time. Particularly as we have seen a rise in bigotry toward Asian Americans in the last year. It is even more crucial that we mark this moment to uplift vibrant culture and traditions, standing together against hatred. And while we cannot gather in person, I hope all are taking this time for safe celebration in our homes as we look to the year ahead. We can all be inspired by the hardworking spirit of the ox. We are steadfast in our commitment to a just recovery, equity, and diverse communities who build their homes, their lives, and families right here. Peace and blessings. Love and light to you all.
Hi everyone, I'm Assemblywoman Neely Brosick, wanting to wish you all a very happy and joyous Lunar New Year. Happy Year of the Ox. May it bring you great wishes and good health and prosperity. This has been a very challenging year for so many of us, so I want to thank all of the honorees tonight at the gala for all your work you do every day, but in particular over the last year really helping our communities respond to COVID and overcome COVID. Thanks for all you do. Be well.
Happy Lunar New Year, everyone. Carlina Rivera here, lifelong Lower East Sider and council member representing District 2 and very proud ally to AAFE. I want to thank my friends and longtime partners at Asian Americans for Equality for inviting me to welcome you to their virtual Lunar New Year Gala. As we embark on the Year of the Ox, I am proud to honor the frontline responders who have made such a critically important impact on their community's COVID-19 response. I'm wishing all of you health, happiness, and hope in the new year.
If you're just joining us, welcome to AAFE's 47th Annual Lunar New Year Gala, an all-virtual event this year. We would like to thank all of our generous supporters and invite you to make a contribution to bolster our community development mission. You can do that by visiting our website, aafe.org, or by texting AAFE 2021 to 44321. Once again, that's AAFE 2021 to 44321. Now, some of the grassroots groups that have been so important to our communities during COVID are brand new. They came into existence in response to the pandemic. Others were already established organizations, having built strong foundations that allowed them to serve our immigrant communities during this unprecedented crisis. Think Chinatown falls into the latter category.
Think Chinatown was founded more than 4 years ago to uplift art, storytelling, and neighborhood engagement in Chinatown. Through arts and culture, the organization embraces the power of storytelling, preserving our rich personal and family histories and linking the past, present, and future through multi-generational programming. We're happy to honor Think Chinatown as another essential grassroots responder. Joining us now is Yin Kong, co-founder and director. Welcome, Yin, and congratulations.
It's such an honor to be recognized by such an important and established organization like AAFE.
We wanted to start with Chinatown Arts Week, an event Think Chinatown has been hosting for 3 years. You went ahead with the program this past October, overcoming, I'm sure, many pandemic-related obstacles. You just released a video wrap-up. Let's take a look.
This is Chinatown Arts Week 2020. This is the 3rd year, and we've risen to the challenge.
This year for Chinatown Arts Week, we had it half online and half in neighborhood. We're excited to present 4 commissions: Mean Opera in Shadow by Spiko Wabe, featuring music from the Eastern Fujianese Opera Association, and another season of Art of Storytelling this year with Jacqueline Tam and Tin-Mei Liu. We also had Landmark by Rochelle Kwan, which was an audio exploration of our collective memories, and Grand Rising, which is a fashion story by Black Gotham Experience, which tells the story of Domingo Antony, the first Black landowner right here in Chinatown in 1643.
We've had a photo exhibit inside a unused newsstand in Chinatown with some amazing photographers.
Corky Lee held court along with Edward Chang and Karen Zhou to celebrate new murals by Peach Tao and Carlin Chan. We set up mahjong tables in front of the mural called Mahjong Social, and life was imitating art. Chinatown Arts Week follows the Mid-Autumn Festivals. We invited artists to create pieces that express their emotional attachment to these mooncake boxes, which often remain in our homes, carrying little treasures long after the Mid-Autumn Festival. We were also able to feature what things were happening in Chinatowns outside of New York City and really broaden the reach of Chinatown Arts Week.
Think Chinatown is magic. Think Chinatown brings all of us together to celebrate the things that we love and want to preserve in Chinatown and creating new things for the future. It's so funny, when I was young, you were considered a success if you could leave Chinatown. And I think what Think Chinatown is trying to do is to make sure that you can be a success if you want to come to Chinatown or if you want to stay in Chinatown.
能忘记我和你曾走在杨柳树底，能忘记我和你黄昏时相偎相依。虽然你已离去，没带走心中回忆。
Ian, thanks for sharing that video with us. It ended with Corky Lee, who had been part of all 3 Chinatown Arts Weeks and passed away at the end of January due to complications from COVID. We are all grateful to Corky for his lifelong dedication to documenting the history and people of Chinatown and the wider Asian American community. Can you talk a little bit about the role Corky played just in the past few years supporting arts in Chinatown?
Something I wish we can all celebrate a little bit more is how he encouraged younger artists, journalists, photographers in the API community to step up just like he did. And he encouraged us along the way, you know, with his last birthday, he set up a birthday fundraiser for Chinatown Arts Week, and that's how much he believed in our work. Sorry, it's still hard to talk about him. We created a space, newsstand out in Moscow, which you saw in the video, for him to show his photography. And of course, he brought his friends along because he's always about sharing the spotlight with others. Corky has inspired us to create 2 new art installations dedicated to him. One is in the newsstand where he had his last exhibit. So in Moscow Street, Priska Cho has created beautiful installation that turns the newsstand itself into a lantern, shining light from where Corky once stood, representing what it means to us that we can look to community members that support us in dark times.
Yan, tell us more about the mission of Think Chinatown and how the arts and neighborhood engagement go hand in hand.
I believe that the process of listening, reflecting, and celebrating develops that community cohesion and that trust. We really need to build that trust in order to take on the larger neighborhood issues. So, you know, we really want to shape and better policies and programs that define our public spaces, that give us opportunity to celebrate our cultural heritage and innovate how our collective memories are represented. And something that we really believe in is fighting for equal access to these resources. And that's a lot of the work that we've been doing, especially in the time of COVID, is that we were really concerned about how these resources are distributed equitably. But at the same time, right, we need to keep that celebration and honoring, and that's why art and storytelling is so important. I can also talk a little bit about Assembly for Chinatown, which is a more literal coming together of those practices. We had artist murals painted on outdoor build-outs in restaurants in Chinatown. We helped them with the design, the construction, all at no cost to the restaurant owners, and also brought together volunteers, people all over New York City who really cared about Chinatown, that wanted to spend their time helping sand and paint and beautify our neighborhood.
In collaboration with the Urban Design Forum and the Van Allen Institute, AAFE and Think Chinatown will be working together to lead a neighborhood visioning for Forsyth Plaza. Yin, from your perspective, why is it so important for Chinatown to be a part of this process and making this public space come to life?
I am so excited about this project. I really am. I know it's something that AAFE has been working on for so many years, for decades. And, I think Chinatown has started dreaming with AAFE a few years ago. And I also think this really shows the importance of longevity of organizations such as AAFE to have that sustained presence in the neighborhoods. I'm hopeful that we can activate the spaces so that there's more opportunities for us to come together, even in these difficult times, to celebrate our cultural heritage and our neighborhood.
On behalf of all of us at AAFE, we would like to present Think Chinatown with a certificate honoring your organization for its role as an essential grassroots responder during COVID-19. Once again, on behalf of the community, congratulations.
So if you haven't bookmarked Think Chinatown yet, you should. And one of the ways in which they're continuing to carry forward Corky Lee's belief in the role of artists in community development and social change is in calling for artists to bring their creativity and voices together to call for active participation in democracy. And we're now going to turn to our last group of elected officials who work to try to make democracy work for all of us. Here's one more round.
I'm New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer. I'm thrilled to welcome you to the 2021 virtual Lunar New Year. I applaud for your tremendous creativity and effort in producing this celebration in these trying times. It's more important than ever that we continue the traditions, rituals, ceremonies, and celebrations that define our communities, though they will look and feel different during the pandemic. It's a testament to your mission and commitment to the community. I wish everyone a safe and joyous Year of the Ox. May we all have peace, prosperity, and good health in the new year.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Kavanaugh, and I'm the state senator for the 26th Senate District, representing parts of Brooklyn and Lower Manhattan, including Chinatown. I'm here to wish everyone a happy Lunar New Year at your virtual gala. Thank you, Jennifer Sun and Thomas Yu, and everyone at AAFE, and tonight's honorees for the incredible work you've done to support the Asian American community during the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, the year of the rat has been a very difficult one, but your dedication has helped so many people access the resources they need. Now, I join you in welcoming the Year of the Ox and wishing you renewed hope, prosperity, good health, and the strength and perseverance of the ox. Xin Yan Kuai Le, Gong Hei Fa Choi. Happy New Year.
Hi, I'm Assemblyman Ed Bronstein from Northeast Queens. Let me start by wishing everyone a happy Lunar New Year. I also want to take a moment to thank all the grassroots responders who are being honored today. We are extremely grateful for the sacrifices you made on behalf of our community this year. I hope to see everyone in person soon. Thank you.
Hello and welcome. My name is Councilmember Peter Koo. I would like to congratulate everyone at Asian Americans for Equality on the occasion of your 47th annual Lunar New Year Gala. And I would like to wish all of you a happy and healthy Lunar New Year. This year is the Year of the Ox. The ox symbolizes strength and determination, appropriate qualities that we all need this year. Normally, we celebrate Lunar New Year with parades and large gatherings. We can't do that this year, but I know if we all stay strong, we will get through this pandemic and better days are ahead. I hope you all enjoy the day. Thank you for your contributions to our city, and I wish you a happy and healthy Year of the Ox.
Thank you. We've been talking a lot this evening about AAFE's work to support devastated small businesses during COVID-19. Our affiliate, Renaissance Economic Development Corporation, launched an emergency small business relief loan fund in March of last year. The very first recipient was Gary Lin, a longtime Renaissance client who owns Caillou Ramen. Here's Gary's story.
This is a franchising company from Taiwan. So far, we have more than 120 locations in Asian countries. I opened the first location in US Flushing last September. Actually, we was kind of busy at the time until March. In the beginning, most of our business are dine-in business, very few takeout. My business just suddenly dropped from 100 to 0 right away, and then we do have a cash flow problem. You worry so much every day and so scared, but you have to continue.
那么呢，在3月份的时候，我们刚开始就推出来了，是和所有的小商业，我们讲的都要关了。在这个情况下，很多小商业打电话来问我 ，Simon 怎么办？我就告诉他们不要着急，我们有个振兴商业服务中心，有一个紧急贷款，可以帮助暂时度过一下难关。
So that's why we can't right away for help. But thank you, they do give a hand to us, we get funding very quick, very quick. We decided not going to close our restaurant, but most of our employees, they just afraid to work. So only me and my store managers stay. We just feel like we don't know how to continue. Now we have to do 100% to go. And how are we going to do it, how to start it. Little bit by little bit, we find out the way how we are going to do take our orders with Uber, Grab, and that's why we got more and more customers, returning customers. Now we are doing pretty good. Actually, our sales are kind of double than before already. Until August, we decided to do outdoor dining. Yeah, we spent a lot of money and time for the project, and people like that. And then even New York Post, they come interview us, and that's why more and more people know us. Yeah, our style outdoor dining is busy right now. We do counter the bank before for small business loan, but they always ask us to figure out a form, application form, and then we never got a response from that. Because I think they more care about small business, especially for like immigrant. We don't know the culture, everything. They always can helpful to work through everything little bit by little bit, explain everything very detailed to you. So that's why the effort give the funding for us to pay for the inventory, pay for the rent. Without the help, I don't think we can stay and survive until now.
We're now joined by Jessie Lee, Managing Director of Renaissance. Jessie.
Yes.
Kayu Ramen is definitely a success story that's emerged from the pandemic. How's the business doing now?
Hi, Jen and Tom, and Happy New Year to everyone. I am happy to say Kayu Ramen is now on the road to recovery and is a success story in our community. Gary's first location is in Flushing. That's where we taped our story. He recently opened another location in Union Square, and he is now planning new stores in Chinatown, Long Island City, Bayside, and New Jersey. He actually owns the US franchising rights for Kayu Ramen. But things were difficult for him last spring when New York sheltered due to COVID. You heard Gary say it in the story. He did not think the business would survive. But luckily, he came to Renaissance for an emergency loan, and that helped him through that difficult period. Having said that, Gary's case is not typical. There are still many businesses struggling right now, and it's important that Renaissance continues to provide capital for our immigrant minority-owned businesses who have no other options to turn to. In fact, opening a small restaurant, a nail salon, a grocery store is their only option when they can't find work. It's their only realistic path out of poverty. After a year of COVID, many of them still find recovery very difficult. They still need our assistance navigating through the many government programs, such as the Paycheck Protection Program, also known as PPP. Often these public programs are daunting to apply. We offer help in Chinese, Korean, and Spanish, and explain in detail options to our small business owners. This includes providing our own emergency loan program as an additional resource. A big goal for us this 2021 is helping our immigrant small businesses navigate through the difficult situation, refinancing bad loans that they took out during COVID, and coming up with new strategies for survival. This is where Renaissance's role as a community development organization is critical. As businesses close, neighborhoods become less safe. And unfortunately, right now, there's a lot of fear and anxiety when racist attacks are on the rise. Sustaining our small businesses is not only important in providing jobs for our immigrant families, but it also keeps the fabric of our community intact. It keeps the lights shining on our streets, providing a safe neighborhood for our residents and patrons. Our small businesses are the backbone of our community. I am truly grateful for all the support from individuals like you, our institutional funders, and most of all, our staff. Renaissance could not have done all this emergency work without your support. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessie. It has been a night to recognize our special and essential grassroots responders, neighbors helping neighbors cope with the hardships brought on by COVID-19. In the case of Chinatown Block Watch, those neighbors have come from all corners of the city to help keep the community safe.
There's a new set of eyes watching over Chinatown. These volunteers wearing orange safety vests don't want to hurt anybody, but they also don't want the Asian community unfairly targeted because of coronavirus.
They patrol the streets of Chinatown, united against hate. As reported bias crimes against people of Asian descent rise, this group of New Yorkers have taken steps to protect their neighbors.
Watching these videos of Asians being attacked, all over the country and all over the world gave us a sense that it just wasn't very safe to come out. As a matter of fact, a lot of the older people in Chinatown also didn't feel safe, but a lot of times.
I founded the Chinatown Block Watch because our seniors and the women, they were afraid of coming out in the streets or getting mugged or being harassed because of this COVID thing. It struck a nerve because there was a few sensationalized attacks that was highly publicized on mainstream media. So I put out an email out, and I had a tremendous response. And our team formed up to almost 40 people.
Well, I hang out in Chinatown. I have a lot of friends that lives in Chinatown. So Carlin, when he first started the Chinatown Block Watch, I figured why not join the community and help out.
I grew up here, born and raised. We're a neighborhood patrol group. People need something a little more familiar. That always usually helps. To a certain degree, violence against Asians has been going on, has been rising, but isn't well covered for the last 20 years or longer.
No, we're multi-ethnic. We care deeply about the neighborhood. We're not vigilantes. We do not go out there seeking trouble, but we will intervene and try to defuse the situation if there happens to be one we come upon. I'm really proud of the team. We have a core team of a little over 20 people, and they don't live in the Chinatown area. They live in Brooklyn, they live in Queens, right? And they make an effort to come out here to patrol the neighborhood. They care about the neighborhood.
We saw some of the most active Chinatown Block Watch members here. Let's take a moment to recognize all of them. Carlin Chan, Sarah Chin, Andrew Wong, Grayson Chin, Evelyn Garcia, Rosina Leong, Dallas Short, Margaret Moy, Victor Huey, Gloria Moy, Daniela Laboca.
And Jennifer Yip, Vivian Wei, Mike Seed, Sylvia Ng, Henry Wong, Benjamin Wolf, Wilson Tam, Sean Fei Lee, Dr. Hua Lee, Courtney Lee, Ellen Ma, and Karen Jackson. Thank you all so much for your dedication to Chinatown. Congratulations to you all. In spite of the pandemic, and also due to the pandemic, it's been an especially busy year for AAFE's Board of Directors.
We close tonight with some thoughts from AAFE Board President Lydia Tom.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of AAFE's Board of Directors, I thank each and every one of you for participating tonight in our first ever virtual gala. We're grateful for all you have done in the past year to help Asian Americans for equality meet the quickly evolving needs of low-income and immigrant New Yorkers during the pandemic. Our work would not be possible without your support and your passion for our shared mission. Every year, we cherish the opportunity to celebrate the Lunar New Year together in Chinatown. I am so looking forward to a time, hopefully next year, when we can gather once again in one place for a festive occasion with all of our friends and partners. But this year, our community's safety and our collective responsibility to overcome the pandemic together takes precedence. Since the early days of AAFE, more than 4 decades ago, we have been a first responder during times of crisis. This is a role we're playing again during COVID-19, making sure our most vulnerable community members have the support they need to make it through this unprecedented ordeal. Every day, we're working to prevent residential evictions, make sure families have access to critical social services and financial aid, and help our treasured small businesses survive. Due to racism and xenophobia, Chinatown and other Asian American neighborhoods began to feel economic pain many weeks before coronavirus arrived in New York. Foot traffic ground to a halt, customers disappeared from restaurants and shops, and hundreds of small businesses were driven to the brink of collapse. Our affiliate, Renaissance Economic Development Corporation, responded by creating an emergency small business loan fund. Days later, AAFE canceled its Lunar New Year banquet due to the state's ban on large public gatherings, and with the permission of our supporters, dedicated donations from the banquet to the Small Business Fund. Between our own funds and participation in the federal government's Paycheck Protection Program, we were able to inject $4.5 million into our struggling neighborhoods last year. Today, our work is continuing to support immigrant and local small businesses in Chinatown, Flushing, Sunset Park, and beyond in their fight for survival. It has been a painful year for all of us. So many remarkable lives lost to the pandemic. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of one of the stalwarts in our community, the incomparable photographer and community activist, Corky Lee. Corky devoted his life to documenting Asian American communities and fighting for equality, as he put it, through photographic justice. Corky was also the unofficial AAFE documentarian, having photographed the protesters of Confucius Plaza 47 years ago that led to AAFE's founding. He always retained his activist spirit. Corky was very much involved in Chinatown during the pandemic, drawing attention to the plight of small businesses and calling out the xenophobic and racism that have been so damaging in the community. One of the best ways we can honor Corky's legacy is to keep up the good fight, to keep advocating for racial, social, and economic justice. At AAFE this year, we have been working to center all of our work around racial equity. I am proud of our roots in the Asian American Civil Rights Movement and our commitment to serving and standing in solidarity with all systemically disadvantaged communities. Through NeighborWorks of America, our board and senior leadership team completed the Excellence in Governance program last year. We're now able to build on our work to ensure our board and staff reflect the diversity of the communities we serve and are grounded with their lived experiences. And in coordination with our co-executive directors, Thomas Yu and Jennifer Sun, we are making collaboration both within our organization and in the greater community a top priority. Beating COVID and building resilient communities will only be possible together. In the coming year, AAFE will be forging ahead to create new affordable housing, shape comprehensive community services to meet challenging needs, and strengthen immigrant and local small business, a bedrock of our vibrant neighborhoods. We're looking forward to working side by side with all of you to realize equality in 2021. Happy New Year.
We want to thank you for joining us tonight for AAFE's virtual gala. Your support and friendship mean the world to us.
And it truly makes a difference in the lives of thousands of vulnerable New Yorkers AAFE serves each year. We leave you tonight with a performance from the Brooklyn Lion Club, which recently performed at our free community market in Chinatown.
Happy New Year, everyone.